Hi, everybody. It's May 15th, 2016. This is Steve Olson with WSO, reporter. Reaching out to one of my good friends, Henning Kemner, a long over the road truck driver that we also has had YouTube channels in the past. Just recently, Henning had to redo his YouTube channel. So if you're a fan of Henning's work, go ahead and resubscribe to the new channel that I'll have below in the link and enjoy the interview.
Us the full story. They're just going to run their sequences, yeah, in darkness, leaving us unaware of what's really going on. But if you look at this picture here, it looks like there's something there. Literally, there's something physical presenting itself there. You can clearly see right here on this object here. This has a 3D effect.
Yes, right. Yep.
And normally when you look at the sky, you're kind of looking, yeah, you are looking 3D, but yet you are looking at a 2D surface. You don't see what's behind it, but here you have shadows. You see the shadows underneath here?
Yep.
I mean, it's highly peculiar. And this I only saw on my cell phone. And I was just, what the heck is going on there? What are we looking at?
What are we looking at, right? So let me give you a little history of what's going on with me right now, a little update, right?
Yeah.
So we've been looking at and listening to this theory about that the Nibiru system is already here and has been here for about 5 years, and that these planets are
I believe that.
and that they are around us, right? Look at the shape of the bottom of this picture here. Do you see how it looks like a planet almost? That shape of the area there that you're showing. So if you are thinking, well, this is all about programming, right? The way you're programmed. So I look up in the sky and I don't expect to see anything like that, right? I expect to see I expect to see stars. I expect to see all that kind of stuff. So let's say now that you're getting aware of the potential of other planets being around us, right? Another system. Well, imagine for a second if the whole time that this has all been flying around and people are trying to grasp it and figure it out, let's say that the system already jumped in. It's already here, like a bunch of pool balls in the corner pocket, right? And these are so huge that you cannot look at them in the sky. They take up the whole sky. They'll, like the top of one planet might take up the whole horizon, okay? These are not things that humans are used to looking at. So even if you're looking right at it, you won't see it.
No.
So this kind of goes to the Indian story where the indigenous people and the Spanish first encountered each other. And the indigenous people, as we were told in the stories, they weren't even able to see the ships approaching because it was so outside of their worldview and their understanding of the universe that, sailing ships did not even belong in that, right? In other words, they've never seen a sailing ship before. They don't even know what it looks like. They don't know what a Spaniard looks like or anything. It was told that almost all of the tribe could not even see the ships coming in until they hit the shore. That's how bad the dissonance was happening in the minds of these indigenous people. So they weren't even able to see the ships coming in. And I think that we're in the same mode. I think that it's very possible, but that these things have been here for a while, and that the government has been moving the sun around in the sky using a device to make it look like everything is normal. Okay, and when we see the sun in a really weird position, it's only because they had to redeflect the sunlight in that area in order to get around the planets. Okay.
Yeah, I follow you.
This is a very wild theory, okay? And again, I'm putting it out there that's a theory. We're recording, by the way, Henning, just so you know. I'm just going to record our conversation because I think, and then we'll edit it later if we want to take something out. So here's
let's.
Yeah, we're doing.
I want it to just be as it is.
Yeah. And so here I've got Henning, my brother, out there in his truck every day, traveling across the country, and you've done a great job documenting, first of all, chemtrails. I want to really thank you for that. Because what you're able to show us is that from these different points of the United States, that it's the same volume of chemtrailing as it is in places maybe where we live. And since you kind of journey out in these different areas, you're able to tell us what's going on in other parts of the United States. Okay.
Absolutely. I've been traveling in 28 states, and what I see now is actually an uptick in chemtrails in areas where I normally didn't see that much chemtrails, but now it's really protracted.
Give us an
Really, really
example of
bad.
one of those areas, Henning, real quick.
Say again.
Give us an example of one of those areas. Like,
Kentucky, as an example, it used to be clouds, and all of a sudden it changed, and it just became a massive nightmare of chemtrails. In the beginning, when I started driving over in New York, it was not so bad, but now it's like they cannot put enough spray out in the sky. And I got pictures of that from New York.
mm-hmm. and
But
and this picture that we're looking at right now, this is kind of the next thing that Henning, that I think that you've been observing, is you've been observing very strange, almost structures on the horizon, right?
exactly. And when you look at this picture here, you got an object up here floating, and you can see it's casting a shadow, but onto what? That's the question. You can see there is an object here which is also having a 3D effect.
Right.
And if you go right below here and looking at this, you can see there are structures, and these structures do not look like they're random.
I know. And then look at the shadows underneath them as well, Henning. It looks like they have heavy shadows just below them, unlike a cloud.
Exactly. And if you look here, it actually looks like a figure.
Doesn't it? Wow.
Yeah, it looks like two eyes and a head and a body, and maybe that's a tail. I mean, what the heck is going on?
Well, I heard that there was a lion, a couple creatures sitting around the throne of God, like that. That's what Isaiah said.
Yeah.
You know.
Exactly. Yeah, I follow you totally. And if we go just a tad down, right there, look down here. You see that?
Oh, wow. It looks like a city.
What is it? It's structures. You can clearly see that there is a design in this. This is not random.
So
I just can't explain what it is.
Yeah, your theory, and I think Jesse's BP Earthwatch's theory, who, by the way, BP has been critical of me lately, just so you know.
Well, hey, let me say something to you. I don't have, what do you call it? I wouldn't trust that man with a potato gun, because he, in one of his videos, is stating clearly that Satan wrote the Old Testament, and that really, really made me mad, because that's a lie.
No, Satan did not write the Old Testament.
Exactly, yeah, but he claims that, and that made me infuriated.
Well, there are a lot.
That's a lie.
There are some people that believe that, right? And I get that, you know, you want to just, the easiest thing to do with the Old Testament as a Christian is just to throw it out, because it doesn't seem to jive with the nature of God and all that kind of stuff. But that's a lie. The Bible, yeah. The Old Testament was man struggling with his vision of God, okay? And God coming to him and saying, this is who I am, this is what I want, and God and man misinterpreting that and going off on his own direction. That's what the Old Testament is, okay? Yeah. And the Old Testament is very sobering, because there are consequences for a human being that walks off the path of God, okay? Period. And that's what the Old Testament is trying to show us, is that Saul, as an example. Saul in the Old Testament, how could you understand the New Testament without understanding David? You got to understand David, what David was saying and what he was going through. You could never understand the relationship between the flesh and the spirit, or you understand it much better if you look at Saul and David as a contrast. Saul being the man who trusts in his own flesh and his own understanding, and David the one who only trusts in God. So I don't understand anybody that would ever obviate the Old Testament, because it's packed with lessons like that. It's packed.
Exactly.
And so, but the other thing about BP too, and I don't mean this to turn into a scorn session on BP, because I do have respect for him.
No.
But when he comes onto my channel, right, and I only have 30,000 subscribers. So why should he even bother with me, right? Why should he even care what I'm doing? Okay. He's got 370,000 subscribers and he basically owns this market. Okay. He does. He owns this my audience. Okay. So
Yeah,
why
I know that.
feel like he has to come to my site and knock down my stuff in specifically with no specific critique? Just these are all lens flares. Man, in the one video that he said it was all lens flares, I showed a whole segment in there that wasn't anything about anything in the sky. It was about gravitational stuff, right? And it was about magnetics, and it was
Yeah.
about our compasses. And when somebody just comes on and pastes on all lens flares, I usually block them because I think it's a shill, because they haven't looked at the video.
Yeah.
Because I don't just talk about stuff in the sky. I talk about theology. I talk about magnetics. I talk about testimonies from people around the world. And I don't know, I'm venting right now. So I'll back down and go back to you here in a second. But when I saw that critique from VP and everything like that, it really kind of shook me because I have a lot of respect for him, you know? And it made me feel
Yeah,
like,
but I don't.
why would he feel like he has to come onto my site and critique my site? That's what I don't understand.
Well, I can give you a quick answer to that.
Okay.
Just to end it.
Please
He
do.
wants to remain king on YouTube.
He wants to remain
And
king.
he sees he's threatened because you are booming, you're growing in an exponential rate of, I would say, 90 degrees. You got so many followers coming in. I mean, you have grown in 6 months bigger than that I have ever been during the Gulf oil spill. I mean, you got so many subscribers, you got so many views. It took me a whole year to get up 1 million views, and you have done that in no time. And I just see that he is feeling threatened by your platform, and he wants to be king on YouTube.
Interesting.
And yeah, that's just how I see it. I got many years of experience on YouTube, and I have seen the development between YouTubers, and some of them, they get downright nasty if someone comes up and have something explosive to show them. Then they start ranting about them instead of, hey, let's work together on this one. How about we started our own community? You have your ideas over there, I have my ideas here, and this person has these ideas. Let's join them, because in the end, they all are similar. And
well, and let's take a look at, and then let's go back to your CERN idea. So Jesse does a great job covering CERN. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yep. And let's go back to what you're saying, because he also alludes to the fact that he thinks that it's a dimensional barrier that's being removed. So let's just pursue that for a second. So you believe that as CERN increases in power and intensity, that it's actually taking the veil off, not just in that localized area of the CERN device, but you think it's actually stripped?
Oh, no, it's worldwide.
Oh, okay. So you think that this is actually a phenomenon that's affecting everyone, not just that one area in the CERN lab.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you think it's possible
Because
we're starting to see things that were there all along that we just never knew were there?
Yeah.
Ah, interesting. Do you know what that also brings?
Actually,
Go ahead.
it's always been there, but it's been hidden from us for a specific reason, because we have a job here on planet Earth as human beings. We don't need to dwell in what is up there, if you get my point.
I do. If God felt like we needed to see what was up there right now, he would have shown it to us.
Oh yeah, he would just take off the veil himself and show us everything. But mankind, as we are right now, even though that we call ourselves in a technological age and we know a lot of stuff, we would simply not comprehend it. And it will fill a lot of people's hearts with fear for the sight that they see. But at some point, as it is in the scriptures, that veil will be taken off, and we will see these things that are in our sky, all of it, at once. It will simply just be like the carpet in a theater, the big carpet. It goes away, or the curtain goes away, and whoop, everything is just there for us to see. And mankind would not be able to comprehend it.
It reminds me of the Old Testament story. I'm going to emphasize Old Testament stories from now on, just to piss off BP. But so in the Old Testament, we see Elijah and Elisha together, right? And they're being faced by a huge army in the story, right? And it's like just them, okay? And they're after Elijah, okay? That's who they're after, okay? And Elijah sitting there, he's calm, and Elisha is freaking out. And Elijah looks over to him and says, Lord, open his eyes that he might see what's really there. And then all of a sudden the veil came off, and you remember there were just the hosts of heaven and the armies of heaven and all of this activity they never saw with his natural eyes, so that he could be comforted that the kingdom of heaven was on his side, right?
Yeah.
I do think it's similar to that type of effect where the veil just basically comes off, and then all of a sudden we're going to see all that's there, and it's just going to freak people out to the point where they just die of a heart attack.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Because they don't rest in the spirit of our Lord at all. They will be the people that will be in fear, and they will be the people that will die of fear, because they don't understand. And they never gave themselves the time to understand.
Well, what's concerning?
If you follow me.
Yeah, I do. And this is the thing I think of all the time. Like I saw a very compelling shot from R. Wayne Stiegler. He's another one of our friends, and he lives out in Colorado. And this clearly showed Henning a planet in the sky blocking sunlight, blocking clouds, stuff like that, right? Or behind the cloud. And you look at an image like that, and it stunned me for a long time, because I'm getting used to this idea just like you are, right? We're trying to accept it. But then the Lord came right to me, and he goes, now can you see why men's hearts will fail them for fear when they start seeing this stuff in the sky? And I'm like, yes, Lord, I can see. I can definitely see. I have to look away when I see stuff sometimes, just because it's too much for me to look at. Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be a pansy or anything like that. I'm just telling you that this is not easy for me to look at, because I'm not used to seeing it. Right?
No, me neither. I'm just stumped about what I'm watching here.
This photograph just is flooring to me. It's like, because I do see these structures. I see the lion face there. Wow.
Yeah. There's something physical there, present, right there. And if you see, there's shadows. That it's bizarre.
It's not casting.
It's really bizarre.
It seems like the light's casting around it too. See how the light's coming out from the bottom? Almost like in the light, Wow, that is weird.
Yeah.
Man.
It looks like light is coming from all directions.
Doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, because the shadows are in different places. Because if you look in here in this structure right there, you see the shadow in here. But if you look down here on this structure right there, the shadow is going in that direction. So they're actually going opposite. There's not a shadow over here on that side, because if the light was coming from this direction, the shadow would not be here. It would be there.
Correct.
Like it's casting shadow here. You get me?
I do.
And here, the light, here's a shadow underneath this one. It's revealing to us the light is coming from this direction, casting a shadow underneath it. So it looks to me that there is light coming from that direction, and from that direction. This one is 45 degrees.
Yep.
This is a horizontal. This is a vertical. Here again, you have the shadow underneath. And here you got a shadow here on the top, here, meaning the light would have come from that direction. So it really baffles me. Why are the shadows coming in various places? That means the light has to come from all directions.
Or at the very minimum, from more than one source of light. Right?
Yeah.
So what else have you been? Yep. this is definitely a resting type of information here, right?
Yeah,
Wow.
that's how it looks in the raw. That's the entire image of the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Should be in here, our sun. And then I started to zoom in on it because I have before seen that there was something weird going on with the clouds. And let's zoom in right there in this area here.
Okay.
There's a chemtrail up here, you see. There's also one over here. But let me just zoom in here. You see that? It has a roundness to it. It's like a surface of a globe you're
That's
looking at right here.
yeah. And this
It's
actually
going up over.
yeah. Yeah.
You can see that with the naked eye. It's rounded. You see there's something sitting on the top of this round surface. Do you understand?
I do.
It's insane to sit and look at this.
It is, and you know what else is insane? This goes back to it. If you're not open-minded enough to open your mind up to be able to see, again, like the Indians on the shore, to see the ships coming in, it's going to be very difficult to recognize this. But when I'm looking at this, I'm looking at a planet. That's what I'm looking at right here.
Yeah, it seriously looks like you're looking. This is the equator line. Let's just pretend that for a second. And you can see it's rounding up over.
Mm-hmm.
There's something sitting on the top of this roundness. It looks like there is a ball here,
Right.
meaning planet.
Right.
But it's not clearly defined. But you can still see that this is spherical in shape.
Let me present something
that strange.
Yeah, I think you'll get what I'm saying here too. So anytime that I see that there might be like the top of a planet showing or even a whole planet manifesting now, that's when first of all the chemtrailers come out big time, okay? And what I've noticed in their pattern of chemtrailing is they're trying to obfuscate the lines between these, like the top of, like along the top of this particular picture. They'll focus their chemtrailing on that top layer as to obfuscate the line. So you can't see that planet. You'll just look at it as clouds. And then when you look further in, these clouds aren't in our atmosphere. These clouds are around that planet.
Yeah.
And I've seen many photographs like this. So this isn't the only one, folks. And this isn't the only one I'm relying on. This is just another good example where, you know, here's Henning taking a very nice picture of the skyline. You zoom in on one part. The clouds are clearly above it, trying to obfuscate it. Clearly, we're trying to obfuscate the sunset again, and here again, a planet. I believe a planet. I think that we're onto something here.
Yeah.
You should see the distance I get, Henning.
It looks like a sphere.
It's a sphere.
Second. Yeah, it looks like a sphere. Exactly. It really looks like I'm looking at the surface of the moon with my telescope, because it's the same similar structures I'm looking at up on the moon.
And, you know, I'll give you this too, Henning. You know, you and I have been exploring this and walking the path together on this. And when we first started working together, I didn't think that the system was even close to us yet. I thought it was approaching.
No, it's here.
It's here. It is here. And I've gotten more attacks, more animal, just call it resistance to this idea than any other idea I put out there so far. So as I talk about the big planet theory, that there are, oh, what is that up in the sky there? What is that thing? Do you see that thing right in the middle there with the two big eyeballs?
Yeah.
What is that?
I don't know. That's what baffles me about these pictures, and I just took them randomly because what I actually wanted to do, if you look, I just wanted to take a picture of how the sun is being obfuscated by these clouds. But already here, without even zooming too much in, you already see the structures. You see it? Yes. I mean, what is that? Oh, that was too much.
No, yeah, what is that?
It looks like a face. You see that? It looks like two eyes and a features of a face.
Or another way to look at it, like it's a hole on the side of like what we would see the eye of Jupiter or something like that too. Like, you know what I mean? Like the big eye on Jupiter.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it almost seems like it's a bigger object and you're only seeing a part of it because you can actually see the sphere behind it a little bit. You see that too?
Yeah.
And he has
Yeah.
not manipulated this photograph. This is straight up. We have not photoshopped it for clarity or anything yet. Wow. So let's shift gears a little bit, Henning, and let's just speculate a little bit. The Bible talks about we're going to start seeing creatures and maybe things we've never seen before on the earth, right? Do you think it's possible that these planets are inhabited and that they're going to actually bring beings from those planets to our planet?
Yeah. I honestly think, Steve, that we're going to be invaded. Literally invaded.
I do too.
We will be invaded from the abyss, the locusts coming up through the bottomless pit, but we will also be invaded from the sky. They have a standing army ready for the last battle. When God releases them, allow them to be released with the help of CERN and by God's will, I literally believe that we will be invaded from the bottom and from the top. And it will be so massive. Again, we can go to that one, that men's hearts will fail them for the sight that they see.
Sometimes along that line, I have oftentimes thought about this, right? What's going to happen if I have a 9-foot being, manifesting in front of me, or those types of things. And it seems to me that there's a historical record of this happening before on the earth as well.
Absolutely. It happened in the book of Genesis. They came to us.
That's right. And they found that the daughters of men were beautiful and took them as wives.
Yeah, but they wanted to take dominion over God's creation. They wanted to take all of it. They didn't just want to corrupt man. They wanted to corrupt everything that God has created and recreate or genetically remodify what God has already made into their own image and their idea of how a world they would like. They were the rebellions. That was 1/3 of heaven that did that. And they have the biggest contempt for everything that is on this planet. Humans, animals, plant life, everything. They want to completely destroy all of it. Everything.
Yep.
That's what was their game, their plan, to destroy it all. And God said enough. And he created the flood and wiped it all off the map. But it also says that there were giants in the land before the flood, but also after the flood, meaning he did not get them all eradicated. Not all of them. A remnant was still around, and they are what I believe, not to get too much into conspiracy, but they are part of the 13 bloodlines. They're the ones.
I know. That's and as a Christian, I have a hard time hearing this, because of my pre-programming. But I've been talking to more and more people that have been revealing to me that is exactly what's happened. And that those bloodlines exist on the earth and those are protected. And that's why we have these secret societies and Illuminati and everything like that.
Exactly.
They want their genetic seed to be sitting on the throne of power when it happens.
Yeah.
And the battle is between God's seed and Satan's seed. That's what he said when he was talking to everybody. And he said, there will be enmity between my seed and your seed will bruise basically my son's heel, and he will crush your head. That's the problem. And
bottom
so
line.
I think we're in the manifestation of that promise from God.
Exactly.
And we will
And
win this battle. This is not his battle to win. It's
yeah,
not the devil's battle to win. Yeah, it's not his.
yeah, I totally follow you.
Yeah, he already bruised the heel of my lord. He already got that done. It's done. He got his shot. His shot's over with. There's no more shots he gets at God. Okay, that was his one shot. Okay,
Yeah,
and then now the turnaround is, okay, you bruise the heel of my seed. Watch as he crushes you with that same heel, your head. See what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah. I see what you mean.
I believe that we're in that manifestation of that happening, but there's going to be a conflict point, just like any story, right? You'll have two characters, and then you'll have a conflict that will raise to the crescendo. I don't think we're to the crescendo of the conflict. I think we're in the setup.
Yeah,
So is this the
I
same?
totally follow you.
Yep. Is this the same picture? Yeah, sure is. So much going on in this picture. Wow.
Just look at that. And already here you see, and that's what we've been talking about, you and I, so much, the red skies. Where in the picture do you see the red sky? You see that on the left side hand. So let's zoom in on the left side hand. And what's showing up? The sphere. Right there.
Right there.
Right there.
Huh.
That's the sphere. That's the other object in our sky. It's right there. We
Yeah.
just can't see it because of all the chemtrails.
That and
But if
also,
you analyze the picture and go on it, you can see this is a sphere. We're looking at another globe.
wow.
It's right in our face, but we just don't see it in the big picture. What's this out here? These are 3D objects. I'm very baffled about this.
I am too.
And here again,
And then
this one is unfortunately not in total focus, but you can see it.
unbelievable.
Yeah, it is. It's totally insane to sit and look at this.
So in review too, though, you've been noticing the chemtrails are much heavier on the East Coast.
Did you see that?
I did see it.
That's on I-44 in Missouri at mile marker 135 in a city called Sleeper. And there's this guy who is making his own billboards. And I actually copied this one and put it on the back of my trailer. But I didn't say Bill or Hillary. I said US for sale. Call Hillary or Bernie. Because they're two communists.
Careful now. I don't
No
know
doubt about that.
Yeah, I do.
It's a beautiful church.
Yeah, that is a beautiful church.
Yeah, that's called the Solid Rock Church in Ohio off I-75. Look at that. Beautiful.
Isn't it? Yeah. Excellent.
Yeah, I like that church.
So do you have any other images you'd like to show us today, Henning, before we draw to a close?
Well, actually, as I was talking about in New York, so let's go up here. Oh.
Yep, just hit the
What
reshare
happened?
again. Yeah, like you did the last time, and it will come back up.
Share screen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Share that screen. You see, this is in New York. You see the lining of the chemtrails.
Yes.
And it's getting worse in New York. Actually, this is Pennsylvania and Scranton. But you see, this is really bad.
Wow.
Very bad. I mean, they're getting hammered like there's no tomorrow. That is out by the Finger Lakes in New York,
Yeah.
in Watkins Glen, going out to my ship, and you just see how the chemtrails here is just totally covering the sky.
It's almost like
So,
it's become like a white dome in some areas. Like it's not even blue sky anymore. It's like a white dome.
yeah. And this is during the sunset, going back on ice 86 west, after I've been loaded and going back to Indiana with it. And this is the pictures I'm getting of the sunset.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just see here it's just crazy.
Yeah, it's a wall of clouds.
Yeah.
Artificial clouds.
So in this case, if there's something here that is visible, which we know there is, you can't see it. It's completely white out. It's completely obfuscated. There's absolutely nothing for your eyes to view here.
Right.
Except that I got a few objects here, right there, in the sky. You see that?
Yep.
I actually wanted to take a picture of the Kempo, but what is in the picture? I don't know what that is.
No, it's two little dots of some sort.
Yeah, and as I said to my wife, I actually believe that is a UFO, a flying craft of some sort. It's very bright, standing out. And here again, on this same picture, right there, in the line. And here again, we got one showing up in the picture. I don't know what it is. Clueless.
Yeah, and I'll admit that we're guessing. I can't tell you what I'm seeing half the time.
Yeah.
I just know it doesn't belong there. You know.
Yeah. What's going on up here in this frame, right there, above the sun? What is that? That's the lens flare.
Right.
And as you remember your own balloon videos?
Yep.
And you see this weird flare. I see
yes.
the same with my camera from the ground.
Yep. Very strange flares, very strange shaped flares. Absolutely.
Absolutely. I mean, it kind of looks like a comet. You get me?
I definitely get you.
It looks so bizarre. And I have no explanation for what that is.
Well, and look at those two little straight vertical lines that you've got underneath it too. I don't know if that's a photographic effect or.
No, that is a reflection of my microphone or my speaker on my cell phone.
Okay.
So that is not anything by any means. And all these black spots is insects. And this is after the sun has set.
And then
that's how the sky looks like.
Yeah,
we have seen that a million times.
Yeah, I think that we're just sitting in the middle of a bunch of iron oxide right now in our solar system is what I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, let me go back to where we came from.
Sure.
Share screen, that one. I think
Yeah,
I got a hang of it now.
Yeah, you'll get the hang of it.
Just see, I really don't know what's going on, Steve, other than I say that the veil is coming off. Just look at this. I mean, what the heck is that?
I know.
Are you freaking kidding me?
I know. I can't. I'm still trying to absorb what I'm seeing here. Honestly,
Yeah, me too.
I have to acknowledge.
I'm thinking about this.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Sorry, please.
I'm thinking about this image several times a day. What am I looking at? What is that? You can clearly see, and there's no mistake. There's something there.
These are the images that just fry my brain out, man.
What is that? I mean, it's not chemtrail structures. There's something there, people. You've got to understand that. There's something physical present in our realm. And they're doing everything they can to block that out with the chemtrails. Furiously, they're spraying us day and night now in order to keep this out of sight. That's what I have noticed by driving out there in the 28 states. They are chemtrailing much more now. Much more.
We've also noticed that.
Yeah. It's so bad the trees are dying now.
Yeah, and they
can't handle it.
No, they can't, and neither can humans. This is probably a good time to talk about that a little bit. So, I've been talking to people and doing a straw poll. Like, do you feel yourself lately? Do you feel tired, or do you feel good? Do you feel great? And I kid you not, 10 out of 10 people that I straw polled said they're tired, fatigued, and these are people that ride bikes every day or exercise every day. They're health-minded people. Unlike me, I smoke. But point being is that it's this unusual level of fatigue, unusual level of sluggishness that I'm seeing from people. And I'm wondering if it's not from the aluminum in the chemtrails, Henning. I wonder if we're not getting overdosed with aluminum.
You're getting an overdose of aluminum, titanium, barium, strontium, antimony, copper, arsenic, lead, and many other agents that we don't know about that they put in the chemtrails. But soil samples and rain samples are showing these metals, and they are all heavy metals. And all of these metals have a very long, breakdown. Half-life, if you like. They're not radioactive, but aluminum, as an example, aluminum oxide will take up to 4 decades to break down in a human body. And with this overload we are having of aluminum, which think is the main ingredients in order to hide what is in the sky, because it's got the highest reflectivity. And that is what is diffusing the light, so we can't see what it is we're looking at. And if you look at the sun itself, sometimes it looks like it's 10 times larger than it should be normally on the sky. And that is the aluminum that is diffusing and reflecting in that area. And when you then look up at the sky and looking at it so big, you won't see what's next to it, emanating its own light.
Nope, and that's one of the things where we're getting a lot of really good shots is when we take the exposure down so that we take away the coronal light of the sun. That's when we start to see objects like crazy.
Okay? Yeah, and what we need to do, those of you out there listening to this program, when you have these sort of pictures, put it through Photoshop or another photo editing program, and then you do a gamma test. Take down the gamma of the sun, and if there's another heat source in the vicinity of the sun, it will show.
Gamma, got it.
That's a simple little test you can do.
Okay, good one. Henning, it's a pleasure being with you, man.
Yeah, let's just end with this picture, right?
Right on. I want to tell you how much I appreciate you being with me, Henning, and also wanted to tell you how much I appreciate your support ever since the beginning of me trying to struggle and start this channel, and the advice that you gave me and all that. I wanted to thank you on the air for that.
Thank you, Steve. I'm honored to do so. We're all in the same boat, right?
Right. I don't care how you come at this. Now, Henning and I happen to have very similar religious beliefs, guys, okay? Henning and I are both very committed Christians. We're very committed, but we're not religious fanatics in the sense that we're not normal people, right?
Yeah.
I understand that a lot of people are coming at this from a lot of different perspectives, but just for 1 second, hang with me on this, okay? And I'm only going to say this. in the program. But I just want you to think about it for a second. All gods that we've ever come up with on this earth demand something from human beings. They demand it. They demand a sacrifice. They demand your firstborn. They demand whatever, okay?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ is the first God that didn't demand anything from us, but he took the whole load on himself. Think about that for a second. He's not asking me to sacrifice. The sacrifice has already been made. He's not asking me to give another ounce of blood to him. The blood's already been taken. So, so I just want you to consider this, everybody, as we roll up, and then I'll let you finish up, Henning. I want you to consider for a second that when we talk about the Christian God that we're talking about, it's the only God that doesn't demand anything from you except for your belief. That's it. That's it.
Yeah. It's that pure and simple. There's no demands.
Yep. And I'll let you finish up, Henning. Anything you want to say before we sign off?
Well, yeah, I just want to say that CERN is responsible for showing us what we're seeing here, because God has allowed this to happen. Mankind, the 13 bloodlines that is running this planet into the ground, wants this. And God says, okay, you want it? I'm going to give it to you then. Here you have it. Can you handle it? But most important thing is, layman who's not part of the bloodlines, who's not part of anything, but just living their life, can they handle it? I can, because I know it's there. I know it's real. And I know there's no escape from it. And at some point in time, all of it is going to come to us at once, not in small bits and pieces, but all of a sudden, boom, it's all there instantaneously. I wish that you people out there who are a little skeptic or very skeptic or complete denial, you need to prepare yourself for a complete transformation of the world that you and I are living in right now. And I mean 180-degree transformation. It's not going to be gradual. It's going to be there suddenly. All of it. And you need to prepare yourself to handle that fact. You will be able to see all of it at once. And you can't run from it. There's no cave, no bunker that's going to hide that from you. Because it's going to come to you like a thief in the night. Even if you hide, you can't escape it. You need to prepare yourself for that. Mentally and spiritually. Physically too. It's going to be a very bumpy ride for humanity. That's all I have to say.
Amen. I think that's a good place to end it, Henning. We'll have you back on in the next couple weeks and check in from the road again. And I really appreciate your time, sir.